Roll that beautiful bean footage. It is Blasted or Stash It time. Hello, everybody. I'm Huey, the supreme leader of Blast Session. We got Joe and Spider Grandpa with us, ever so gently holding his hand up for a question. Mike, yes, do you have something already?
Why aren't I in the intro yet?
Oh, I haven't had time to go through and fix that. I've got to do that. I've got to add you in there. It's just a lot of work to try to get the little stars to spin, and I just haven't had the time to do it.
Yeah, it's really good to take 10 minutes and, value one of the oldest members of Blaster or Stash It.
And he's not even in the damn intro. This is if you haven't watched our show before, what we do is we buy the new books for the week. We give them a read. We blast the books we hate. We stash the books we love. But before we get into the books, I do want to do some shout outs. We have a few new subs this week. We have Newbie Comics. We've got Pop Scott 1971, Prestige Worldwide Comics and Collectibles, ElizabethMayzak, North Garden Comics, and MK Hobbies. All their links are down below in the description. Go check them out. Go sub those guys up. So definitely thank you, everybody, for checking us out, throwing us a sub. Definitely appreciate it. Other thing before we get into the books, make sure you go check out Teespring. Go check out a Blasted or Stash It shirt there. You get the technical difficulties or the Thunderlust shirt. And make sure you follow us on all those cool social medias. It's all the links are down below: Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, as well as the audio version from this show, as well as something else I'm working on right now too, a grab bag comic. I'll do that once a month, and that'll be just an audio portion, so not on Facebook. Mike, you have your hand up again.
I twittered today.
You twittered today? That sounds dirty when you say it.
How'd it work out for you, buddy?
Real quick, let's run through some stuff. Maybe outside of comics, what did we watch? What else we read? Joe, you want to start us out on that?
Yeah, I've been really kind of chilling out on this whole Stargirl thing. I thought that they were going to do a kind of Wonder Woman thing where they were really into the comic book, and then all of a sudden things got really weird and political and very just doesn't make sense. And honestly, Stargirl has proven to still be a solid show. They're following comic book lore to some degree. They're making some altercations to it to tell a more up-to-date story and to be a little bit more open to other things. And, that's fine. I totally dig it. But we're getting something we didn't get from the other shows that I find amazing, is we're getting that, first off, our heroes are flawed, which all heroes are flawed. But we are also getting, they're just not naturally good at things. Like, they have to learn and figure things out. And I think that's what's really driving the story here. So I've really been liking that. I've been back in my little secret lair, which is my backyard, kind of working on some special projects later for my own show. We'll talk more about that over at Pocan Joe's Comic Book Review. That's not why we're here tonight. And been dealing with people drama in my organizations. So that's pretty much my life. That and just having a couple. Tonight I'm drinking. I'm back to the Voodoo Ranger because let's be honest. One, it's a cool name. Two, it's a cool label. And three, it's actually an Imperial Stout, so it's really good.
What about you, Mike? What have you been playing or watching or reading?
Mostly working. I've been on the Xbox. I've been playing Assassin's Creed Odyssey for close to 70 hours now. Yeah, it's a long ass game. I watched the most recent episode of Stargirl as well. Still enjoying it for the most part. One thing I did notice, the character that plays Stargirl has the same exact voice as Anna Faris. You know who I'm talking about?
I got to listen to. I got to compare them. I knew Anna Faris. Yeah.
if you close your eyes, it sounds like Anna Faris. From if our listeners or viewers don't know, she was the star in House Bunny. So
She was also married to Chris Pratt too.
yeah.
Wait, the teenage girl from Stargirl was married to Chris Pratt?
No.
No.
Oh, okay.
Anna Faris.
Oh, it's a different. Oh, the girl from all the slapstick comedy. Okay, gotcha. Sorry.
I bought some magazine-sized bag and boards. I have a bunch of collectible magazines I want to get in these, so I'm going to work on that probably my next 2 days off. So that's it. Working.
I've been reading these. I got the whole Ant-Man run of the Marvel feature from the Bronze Age stuff, so I've been going through and reading all these. They're a pretty cool little story about Ant-Man. He had this virus put in him so he could make sure to come back get the antidote.
The coronavirus?
The coronavirus, yeah. But now he cannot grow back up. He's stuck as a tiny Ant-Man, and this is his world right now. And these have been pretty interesting, actually. Also, been watching a few movies lately. Last night, my wife's been out of town for the past couple days. I watched Way of the Gun again last night. Freaking awesome movie, dude. I love that movie. There's so many great lines that are not PC at all anymore that if you said them, you would get in so much trouble.
Have you seen the movie? And not to interrupt, but have you seen the movie War on Everyone?
No.
Along the same lines, but dealing with kind of sort of crooked cops. It's on Netflix. Yeah, if you like Way of the Gun, you would like that. That and Shoot 'Em All. So good.
Way of the Gun has Ryan Phillippe and Benicio del Toro. It came out in 2000. Okay. It's just a good movie. From the opening credits when they punch Sarah Silverman in the face for being a loudmouth, to the end, it's just a good movie.
That happened in real life.
And now Oregon's in phase 2, so other stuff's opening up. I'm actually get back to my Krav Maga classes, trying to stay busy and moving and stuff outside of work. So that's been my life this past week. So why don't we go ahead and jump into the books? Because that's why you guys are here. You not want to hear about my Krav Maga classes.
Krav Maga.
How about you, Mike? You want to start us out? Look at that. What almost a perfect little place where you are on that screen, because that backdrop is a picture of you with Wolverine touching your face ever so lovely. And you're perfect, almost right in the frame of that.
All right.
Do you want to go?
I'm going to...
Start us off, Mike.
Launch it, buddy.
I don't know if anyone else had read Nightwing this week.
I did.
I haven't been reading Nightwing. So from what I could understand, I heard people talk about it, that Nightwing's all fucked up. He don't know who he is. His memories are all jacked up. What up, Double S? My favorite person in the whole world, besides Pocan Joe and Dave.
Okay.
So, what?
No, go ahead.
Oh, lap dance. In this one, Nightwing's hanging out at a bar, and he hears sirens in the distance. So he goes to check it out, and he discovers the police are trying to round up an escaped villain named Tusk, who nobody cares about. Nightwing or whoever he is, he's dressing all different or whatever. Didn't he get shot in the head and he was?
He did. Yeah, but I forgot who shot him. I don't know if it was KG Beast. I think.
Okay. Yeah, so he's all jacked up. Anyway, he finds a Joker card embedded into a wheel of a cop car. He doesn't even remember ever meeting the Joker, but he knows. But he figures this Tusk guy is only like a distraction. What happens is Joker shows up at the bar he was at, and where I guess it's his best friend Beast works, and Joker has some sort of crystal that could mess with memories, and Nightwing shows up and he starts implanting these memories that the Joker raised him. So this was really good. I thought this is a stash. This is a step into the upcoming Joker war. So I don't know if Nightwing is going to be on Joker's side or what, but I'm looking forward to the Joker war. So stashing it.
Yeah, so I'm real quick before you break into that. I just want to ask, and I'll ask you at the same time. They kind of made a big deal in the promotion of this as being a Joker Wars tie-in. Was that evident in the story, or is it kind of a vague?
Kind of, sorta. It's Joker's got a big plan, and technically, in all these Batman books, it's a little bit. You get a little bit more, information about what he's planning. And what's up, Samuel David? Samuel David is in the chat. He said, "Hello, everyone."
Yeah, so like Mike was saying, that every this is a journey to Joker War. So every one of these tie-ins is going to have a little snippet that's going to lead up to it. Like Mike was saying in a review, was that Joker had the memory crystal and he was changing Dick Grayson's memories to, instead of Batman raising him after the circus accident, it was Joker raising him. And so we don't know if Dick Grayson is going to be part of Joker here, or is he going to be against Batman? We don't know.
Which Joker, though?
No, I don't know. This Joker. So this was like Mike too. That I have not been reading Nightwing at all. This was kind of a jump in for me because one, it was a tie-in to Joker War, and two, there was so little to read this week. I wanted to read something else. But just like Mike too, I think it's a stash. I think it's kind of interesting. All I can think about though is I don't know if you've seen Aladdin, the movie, when Jafar is transing the king. Oh, very nice. He keeps hypnotizing the king and making him think different things. That's all I can think about the whole time when Joker was hypnotizing Dick Grayson. Was that little scene from Aladdin? But overall, it's a stash though. I thought it was pretty good.
It's actually funny that you mention it because in the early Silver Age and even in the Golden Age of the Joker, him hypnotizing people was not an unusual thing for him to see doing. But like even in modern times, you saw him kind of do the trick where he would kind of hypnotize somebody kind of quickly. So that's interesting. I think maybe that's a clue. This is the great thing about the Joker War. I haven't read that one in particular. I'm not usually interested in vague tie-ins, but I do like homages to Golden Age. I actually have a Golden Age comic book where the Joker hypnotizes Robin. So that's kind of interesting. I don't know if it's just something happenstance or if somebody did their research, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I like to talk about those. Go ahead, Mike.
Nightwing. For one, I can't stand his costume he's wearing in this.
That's why I dropped it. I'm not big on Nightwing's costume.
Well,
big on the booty.
He don't think he's He's not Nightwing right now because he can't remember shit, but that's his costume. Yeah, he picks up the Joker card and throws it and blinds that fucking guy. Yeah, so good stuff.
Joe, since you didn't read that one, do you want to start us out a new book?
Let's just do this clockwise because I'm busy. No, I'm joking. I'm joking. Let's go ahead and talk about. Did anybody read Batman? The Adventure Continues.
Oh yeah.
Okay, so here's my take on the book, real quick. I did give it on my own show, and you know what? Even after my show, I kind of read it again. I never watched Batman the Animated Series, but I did see some commercials, and I kind of see references to it all the time. It seemed to relate to that. Am I off on that? Do you all know?
Yeah, it's based on the definitely the cartoon.
So yeah. It's a cartoony type comic book. In this one, we're dealing with a big robot. Apparently, something happened, and I don't like this when they relaunch a series. They take some vague reference at something that happened in the last volume, and they arbitrarily put it in here. This book had no reference to why Superman was the battery to the robot that was in here, other than Superman disappeared. And then they were like, aha, it happened in the last volume. You just don't understand. It's kind of annoying. Like every now and then I'll pick up a random comic book. I get it. I don't expect every comic book to have a fluid story. But when you start a new series, I do kind of expect a new storyline, and I didn't get that in this. However, that's my critique of it. The good things about this comic book is this thing's super fun. Like I kind of wish I don't know, maybe I need to watch the cartoon to maybe relate to this comic book a little bit more. But I really enjoyed the characters in it. I really enjoyed the kind of pokiness of it. And it still seemed like something that an adult can read and a child can read. Like if my daughter was younger and she was like, "Daddy, read me a bedtime story," and I don't want to I don't want to read Three Pigs, right? So I'll be like, "Hey, you want to know about this cool character named Batman and Superman? Look, I'll read this to you," and then we're done in 5 minutes. You brush your teeth and go to bed. Right? Like it's a done deal. So I like it for that. I think this is something that a lot of people can kind of, if you have children in the house or nieces and aunts or nephews, this is definitely the opportunity to where you get a good comic book and you can share your comic book with the next generation of younger kids or children. That's really the point of this book. Nothing really deep in here. It's a classic comic book story. Great stuff. And it's fun. By the way, the cover has nothing to do with the story. It's just, hey, somebody did some cool art so people would buy it. So don't get fooled by it. Nothing special happened in here. Good story.
Yeah, this definitely harkens back to the cartoon and the original comic series. I was wondering if they're maybe going to be relaunching the cartoon just to kind of coincide with it. That'd be really cool. I'd love to be able to see that again. I can't believe that you haven't watched the old Batman the Animated Series. Maybe I was too much of a nerd and wasn't getting the ladies in high school, so I was stuck watching cartoons. I don't know. Maybe that was my problem.
Wait, what year did that cartoon come out?
92.
92?
Yeah, 92, 93.
Yeah, no, I wasn't watching. I had a job. I'm not trying to be rude, but like, I had a job. Like that's
yeah, whatever. Yeah, well, yeah. There is a character in here. They don't say who it is. I want to say it's Jason Todd, but I don't know 100%. They didn't name who it was. There he is, right there. You said, yeah, Mike?
No, that was my question too. I thought about the demon Etrigan, his alter ego, because he has the gray hair. But I don't know. I'm curious about that. So.
Yeah. So I read an article on this today. They were saying that because, of course, Batman Adventures 12, that was the first Harley Quinn, and that's a pretty big book. Paul Dini was saying that they're supposed to have quite a few new characters coming out of this series too. So maybe we might get another Harley Quinn. And I was wondering too if this Batman Adventure Continues number 12 is going to have a key issue book too, just to kind of like throw back to the Batman's Adventures 12. But overall, it's a stash. If you like the cartoon show, if you like the original series, I think you're actually going to love it. So it's definitely a stash. Mike, what do you think of Batman Adventures Continue?
I'd rather just watch the cartoon. Yeah, it is what it's meant to be. A spin-off of the animated series, which I didn't really watch either, but I've seen a lot of them, and it's a pretty good show, because in high school I was chasing tail.
Boom!
I didn't have time for Batman animated series. No, I'm kidding. Big shout out to Discovery Bay Comics. He popped in here, the hardest working man on YouTube, but I'll soft stash it just because I want to know who that character is, and I guess we're getting Deathstroke next issue, so I like Deathstroke.
Deathstroke's cool.
Just because of the word part of his stroke, his name in there, is that why?
No, death.
Again, he says he was chasing the ladies. He's relating to his youth.
Yeah, I was a late bloomer. What can I say? Okay. I'm going to talk about an indie I don't think anybody else got this week. I know, Mike, you were talking. You didn't get any indie books at all. And I'm not sure. I don't think Joe got this either. This is the Cimarron Red Nails.
No.
So this is supposed to be, according to the solicit, the Conan comic you've always wanted, more true to the original books than I guess in the Marvel series or whatever that means. So yeah, so the Marvel series, what's a T for teen book or T14 or whatever that rating is? So it's definitely for younger viewers. This is mature, so I'm thinking, oh my god, it's gonna have tons of cool stuff in there. It's gonna be totally awesome.
You got it for TNA, buddy. You got it for TNA.
Conan, what is good in life? Crush my enemies, see them driven before me, and hear the lamentation of the women. And we didn't get any of that, really. We do get a pretty hot chick. Is it Valeria, whatever her name is? But she's not like this. You know how they do have all these women characters now. They're always a really strong lead, and they can do anything the man can do. You know, if we harken back to the old, I'm using the word harken a lot today. Back to the old books where the women.
At least you ain't using hankering.
Yeah, I know.
Well, still, hankering is not a word for a 43-year-old man. That's like you're almost 1,000 years old using that word.
So the female in here, though, she's more of the damsel in distress in a way. She had big boobs and doesn't really do much other than just kind of look pretty, you know. So Conan's fighting this big dinosaur thing, guts it, and they find this village that is. They go through the main doors, you're thinking to see like a big open area, but the whole building is essentially roofed in. There's no windows, no other doors. They keep going through doors, and doors. Trying to find the central area, and they're not finding it. And really, the only like piece that I would actually call this mature. I mean, there's no TNA in it. Is he cleaves? Conan cleaves a guy in half with his sword, and that's like it. So I don't think this is really the Conan book that I was looking for. That was more true to the original novelization of Conan. No, not really. I would just stick with the regular Marvel Conan versus going to buy this. And I even dropped the regular Conan. So, unless you're a true Conan fan, I would just pass on it. It's a blast.
Real quick, I want to address something that was in the comics. Double S, one of our favorite long-time watchers here. Thank you for swinging by. He did make a funny comment either. He was like, Joker War, Penguin War, Two-Face War. When are we going to get a Kite Man War? First off, last I read on Kite Man, he's not a kite. It's a glider. It's legitimately a glider. And I'll tell you what, though, I do like the character because of, one, the ridiculousness of it. Two, his last run from the one Batman story. They tried to make him something, and it fails every time. The truth is, they need to reinvent the character. I just want to bring this up because I have a special affinity towards villain. And I like Kite Man. I think you can do a lot with that, but I think that's one of the things. You know how they always reboot somebody and rename them something, but they very rarely do it with a villain. I think we could we could do something cool with the character Kite Man in the last runs that we've dealt with him, and we might be able to. Oh, okay, so we took Robin and we made him Nightwing, right? We made him cooler. I think it's time to do that with Kite Man. So I'm going to suggest #change Kite Man. Throw it out there. Maybe DC will see it, and we can actually make that character something cool.
Have you been watching? You haven't been watching Harley Quinn, no? Have you?
The show?
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Kite Man's a huge part of that show.
Right, but he could be called Kite Man. It's Glider Man. He's not a kite.
And they kind of make fun of that too in the show.
Yeah, that's always been the
and that's.
But I think it's one of those things. You know, we took Robin, we made him a cool character. You have a cool character now with a personality among himself. Maybe he should call himself. Anybody got it yet? Glider Man.
What are you gonna say, Mike?
Robin was cool as Robin. I'm a Robin kind of guy.
Yeah. We could also call him Astroglide, too, if we want to think along those lines.
Hell yeah.
Who's next? Who else got an independent book that nobody else read? I think Joe, you did, and Mike, you didn't get any.
I got two.
I did read The Boys Dear Becky, which is a load of crap.
You got that last week? Really? You didn't like that?
No.
So why didn't you like it? I'm curious.
I don't know. I don't remember.
Fair enough. This is a review show.
Yeah.
Go ahead there. Go ahead, Joe. What with your one of your indie picks?
What are my indie picks? Picks or Blaster Stash?
Well, whatever you want. What are the indie books you got?
Let's talk about this. I picked up two this week. I'll hit them both in the same shot.
Okay.
So first off, Something is Killing the Children. I'll be honest with you, this is starting to look more and more and more like a script at this point. I'm not knocking that. I get a lot of writers. They cross their fingers when they put something out that Hollywood pick it up and they get that royalty. Awesome. But this kind of took a weird twist. So but it's interesting. Like this should be a legit show. We have this House of Slaughter. We have a group organization, whatever you want to call them. They wear the mask. They have the stuffed animal that talks to them. Fine. Really cool. Apparently, the missions, if you've been keeping up with this story, haven't gone exactly to plan because she's kind of rogue. Yeah, she's a rogue. She's going to go out there and do what she needs to do because she doesn't understand how management and things like that work. Like if somebody is literally in a position higher than her, she doesn't recognize it because she's a rogue and she's out there working it hard. Well, something interesting happened. Somebody was explaining how leadership works and how strategy works, which normally doesn't happen in these kind of comic books. I was actually it was refreshing to see it. So we have a gentleman. He comes down. He's from the House of Slaughter. He comes down there, and he's like, hey, look, Slick, you need to understand this. And she's like, oh, you've done nothing but learn theory. You're nothing but a bookworm. I'm out here grinding my knees out, working this. And so she goes through her spill. This cat stays calm, cool, collective, and he comes off like a villain, which I really like. He comes off like a villain. He's like, look, what you need to understand is I'm in charge, regardless if you agree with it or not. It doesn't matter. And by the way, this is what's going to happen. The two kids that you have opened this world up to that we have to operate in, they now have to be the bait. Because the monsters in the story have to feed. If they don't feed, they don't become solid. I thought that was an interesting point, but I don't want to get too deep into it because it can get complicated, and I only got a few seconds. So I'm going to skip over it. But I want you all to think about the fact that eating children and becoming solid, it's not unusual in storytelling. It's happened through Greek and Roman mythology quite a bit. And there is actually some kind of weird precedence to it in cannibalism as well. But in this story, it becomes very present. The monsters need to eat, especially if they're babies. So the only thing you can do at this point is you have two witnesses and their children. Now, think about this for a second. In order to kill the monsters, they have to feed. So do you sacrifice two children that maybe know a little too much about your secret society? Or do we not use the children as bait that can be eaten and let the animals run rampant and find their own and spread? It's that whole trolley cart versus hitting one person versus several. It's been a psychological and ethical experiment for the longest period of time. Very smartly done in this because everybody immediately wants to jump to don't sacrifice the two kids because they never weigh the options in it. And I think we're going to get a piece of that. I hope we do because if it's put in this kind of medium, I don't know, but I've talked too much. What do you all think? Chat in the box.
before you jump in your next one, I'm gonna jump to Mike because I read Adventure Man as well, so I want to talk about that. We'll have a discussion about that.
Yeah, we'll discuss that. Yeah,
we'll jump to Mike. What else you got this week, Mike? What else you read?
I'm gonna go with my co-pick of the week. First one is Flash number 755. I don't know if any of you guys read that, but I wish I would have jumped on this before the corona because this ending is freaking amazing. So this is the finale of the Paradox versus Flash story. So you got Flash teaming up with Reverse Flash and Godspeed versus this god Paradox who has erased the presence of Flash in the world. So he's aiming at the multiverse next. So we got Reverse Flash and Godspeed want to kill Paradox. Flash doesn't. Reverse Flash goes back in time. I'm not sure what he does, but I think he kept his parents from being killed. So that changes the whole path of him going evil and stuff. That's all settled. The team makes it back. Godspeed asks Reverse Flash about who killed his brother since he knows everything about Flash history. Reverse Flash quickly, in one of the most brutal scenes in comic books I've seen in a while, runs behind Godspeed, snaps his fucking neck, and says, "I did." And I'll show you that panel in a minute. It's one big page. It's fucking awesome. Barry Allen or whatever, the regular Flash goes crazy. Reverse Flash is trying to build a Reverse Flash family. I don't know. It was fucking awesome. Let me show you guys this panel. Spoiler alert. Not the. Here we go.
Wow. Yeah, I quit. I dropped Flash right after the button, I think.
The artist on this book, where is it? I'm gonna butcher this name probably. Rafa Sandoval. Is pretty freaking amazing too. So I think I'm gonna keep picking up Flash. So and there it is again, the death of Godspeed.
is it the death of Godspeed though?
Probably not, but co-pick of the week.
Co-pick of the week. Let's. I'll start off on this one here, and then we'll go to Joe with it. Adventure Man #1. This was one that I originally didn't pick up, but I went back to the store to pick it up because I wanted more to read, and I actually enjoyed this quite a bit. You got Terry Dodson art. That's always a win for me. I love Terry Dodson. I think he does some really good stuff. He mostly does covers, but he did the art in the whole book, which was pretty dang awesome. This is kind of almost like two stories in a way. There's a story within a story, a Princess Bride kind of thing going on a little bit where she's reading the story to her son, which we think that's what's going on originally in the book is the Adventure Man and his crew, which I thought was a really cool story too. You got these two teams that are fighting against each other in 1940s.
Story there, right? That was awesome. The first story.
Yeah. But then we find out too that it's not the true story. At least it may lead into that later on. We find out too that this main character here, I forgot her name. She has a hearing problem, so she has to have hearing aids. And sometimes she takes them out just so she doesn't have to hear the family because they get together on Fridays if they're in town, and they have to talk about a good thing and a bad thing in their normal day. And she didn't want to participate in that anymore, so she's kind of lying about it. But she does own a bookstore. She does end up getting a new book of Adventure Man coming through. So it's kind of changing that. Is Adventure Man true? Are they true tales? Is he coming back? We have no clue. I actually thought it was a pretty good book. It's a pretty long read, too. It's a pretty thick book. And I actually enjoyed it. I thought it was a stash. So I'll be picking up issue 2 of Adventure Man. What'd you think of it, Joe?
Oh, yeah, it's a blast for me.
It's a blast?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
So I read the first part of it, and I'm like, wow, how cool. Somebody's explaining the characters to us quickly. We're dumped into some action, and we're going to find something out about this, right? We're not getting too heavy into dialogue or introspect or anything like that. We just dove into a great story. If you don't know, Adventure Man's been around for a very long time. Like, I'm not talking to you, Drew, or Huey. I know you know, but I'm talking to the broad span. It's actually a golden age comic book. Like, it's old. So what we did is we did typically what we do with something. We need to update it. So when we update it, what we need to do is shut all that bullshit off, right? All the action, all the suspense, and we need to just randomly, for some reason, put it in modern day. We don't understand why we're in modern day the way we understand the world today. We were in a world that was kind of steampunkish to some degree. Obviously, there was some magic. One of the characters was kind of a slice of magic and science together. We had a female aviator. Like, we had a very diverse group of people in the beginning, extremely diverse through all aspects of it. We had a fat guy doing backflips because he was from India and he was like a ninja or something, right? It was really kind of cool. And I was really digging that story because I thought that fit what a lot of people complain about. They want to see themselves in a comic book. I thought that fit very well. What we ended up with is that's not good enough. What we need to do is we need to randomly end this story with no expectation or no reason whatsoever that was given to us in the first issue. And hey, there's this person that is part of a family who, and this is probably my biggest annoyance of it, their definition of Shabbat is absolutely wrong. That is not what Shabbat is. If you don't know what Shabbat is a Jewish kind of tradition. There is some family dinner involved, but it is very heavy on the religious side of it, where certain readings are done and things along that. But hey, that stuff's not important. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about how everybody's not Jewish at the table and how different they are. And we're going to do it under the guise of a lie and that I had my hearing aids out and I wasn't paying attention to the head of family, which if you don't pay attention to the head of a family in a Shabbat, that's not cool. Like that's not cool. But hey, we understand that people have different things, but hey, we're different too, so we get to manipulate it. I found it very disrespectful of anybody of Hebrew faith or Jewish. Rather, you're Jewish by belief or Jewish by Hebrew. I found it to be very offensive and very insensitive because obviously the writer didn't know what they were writing at that point. Now, it's very hard to offend me. I'm not offended, but I am kind of mystified that you thought that it was okay to be very specific in having somebody with disabilities, every nationality, explaining how every nationality needs to be represented at the table and the food needs to be met, but you didn't understand what the basic purpose of Shabbat is. And I'll be honest with you, if it's Shabbat or a Sunday Christian dinner, you obviously didn't understand the difference between those. And I found this extremely offensive. And it, like, legitimately, you have to hit me in the head with a bat to offend me. But when you're just absolutely incorrect in your interpretation in something because you're trying to be inclusive, you're just ignorant. And so the book's a blast for me because the writer's ignorant, just absolutely ignorant.
Wow. Real quick, Captain.
Yeah, that was a hard one, wasn't it?
Captain Dadpool, I haven't seen him around for a while. Good to see you back in the chat, man. Hope everything's going good. I think you're in Seattle, if I'm not mistaken, right? Or up in that area. Hope everything's going good for you up there and you're staying safe and not getting in any trouble. So we definitely appreciate you stopping by. Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Okay. Let's talk about. I know Mike read this book too. Let's talk about Batman Secret Files number 3. Do you want to start off? Or you want me to start off, Mike?
Go ahead.
So the reason I got this book, so I picked up number 1. It was okay, but the reason I picked up number 3 is because it had backstories on the gunsmith, Mr. Teeth, all those characters we met previously in a Batman issue. So each one of these is an individual little story that leads up to it, and different artists, different writers in each one of these characters. Now, Mr. Teeth and Gunsmith were the 2 favorite ones for me out of that series, and I was looking forward to those. And those were, I thought, very disappointing freaking stories. The Teeth one was basically Michael Myers. He was in a house trying to kill, well, I don't know if it's a babysitter, but he was in a house trying to kill a babysitter. And then Mr. Gunsmith is all anti-gun. And how about Mr. Gunsmith's all about America, and Batman's trying to take him down because of the whole gun thing. It was so disappointing. I really wanted to see more out of these characters, but it's especially the Gunsmith one, anti-gun. I know Batman's been anti-gun for a long time. Hold on one second, Joe. I'll get right to you. Batman's been anti-gun for a long time, but I know either the Batman the Gun trade paperback or graphic novel or whatever that was. But this was just horrible. It was a blast for me. Joe, what are you going to say?
I just have a quick question before we got too deep in this.
Yeah.
Gunsmith's the character that we were first introduced to in Batman, right?
Yeah.
So he's so how does that? So what's the first appearance? Is it timeline or is it like this is something that gets talked about in the comic book community? Is it an origin story or is it like?
Well, it's not even really an origin story. It's well, I guess it is a little bit. It talk about how he's able to take and make anything a gun. He says, "Well, I can make everything a trigger." Essentially, is what he's saying. So he uses a kid to use a gun on a Batman because he's holding his little brother hostage. Fair. But the whole story is afraid of America, and that's what Batman is afraid of America because the cops are buying all the guns back to melt them down, but he went and stole all the guns to save America. So he's this overly patriotic guy that they're really making America like a villain. I hated it. I absolutely hated it. But what do you think, Mike? Files.
I'm gonna stash it.
Ooh.
The first story is somewhat decent. It features Cheshire trying to assassinate this rich guy who exposes corruption all over the city. She ends up poisoning Batman, blah, blah, blah. The second one is probably the best one. The Green Arrow and Batman team up to take on Merlin. Pretty badass. Batman takes like 3 arrows in the back. And pretty good. The Mr. Teeth, like Dave said, was pretty disappointing. Horrible art. Mr. Teeth was my favorite. I would like to see more of him, but we didn't get that. Gunsmith was horrible. And the last story is Batman versus Deathstroke, which does tie into the Joker War, because at the end, Joker does try to recruit him for whatever his plans are going to be. So another little tie-in leading up to that. For the most part, I liked it, so I'll stash it. Like you said, Dave, could have used some more on the new characters,
but it does have Punchline in there too.
Does
it
I
have
have
Punchline?
one question before we get to the whole Punchline thing, because I know that's going to be the next book. One question. If we go into Joker Wars, what do you all think the premiere book will get? Look, let's speculate. What will be the most valuable book to get? What issue or what storyline do you think there will be out of? Will it be Batman? Will it be its own series? What do you all think?
Well, I think it's probably going to be Batman because of Punchline. I think everybody's specking on Punchline right now. It was that one book that came out, that one with the misprint in it. It was going for crazy amount of money.
Yeah.
That's dropped in price. But I mean, they're
tremendously. But yeah,
anymore you can't really do it because they have so many different variant covers. The cover A and cover B are for almost freaking pointless.
Just to be clear, you think your speculation is going to be Joker War kind of fall in line with the whole Punchline thing?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, because Joker War I think is going to take place mainly in Batman and Detective Comics.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think, Mike?
I don't have a clue.
Yeah, Mike doesn't care about money in comic books. He just collects, but that's fair. I wanted to ask. He's a true blue comic book fan at the end of the day. Fair enough.
We're only got about 10, 15 minutes left. We're in our main show.
No, we got whatever we want to do.
I know we can do whatever we want to do. Do you want to talk to us about Joker?
Yeah,
80th anniversary, Joe.
You know, I really want to talk about Joker, but I don't want to eat up a lot of time about it. I will do my best. God, how great was this? Now, let me be very clear. I'm not one of those guys that jumps on board with the Joker. The Riddler is my favorite DC villain, period, cross the line. If we have time, we'll talk about why from the Batman series. But I did get this cover because I thought this cover, I stopped cover buying and just wanted to get the covers that meant the most to me. So I got my beautiful Smiling Fish storyline, which I own the first issue of. And I got the first appearance of that particular card right there as well. And then I got, come on, this is beautiful, right? I think there's a lot of homage to early Silver Age in there. I thought that was great. And Mike has a good cover too. I know that that whole storyline is beautiful. So this whole thing was absolutely the best of all these anniversary issues. I did not dislike a single story in this. I loved every story. This is my pick of the week, not because of cover, because of story. I want to be very clear on that. You get various people that we know and love, and some people that are kind of obscure, that never written a Joker story before. We get their interpretations of it. And here's the great thing about the Joker, and this is why I've always argued the Joker doesn't need an origin story. If you don't give Joker an origin story, I know the movie Joker came out. It was huge. I loved it myself. But with the fact now that we're dealing with Joker Wars, which is a great point, and we may be dealing with other Jokers out there, the sheer fact that anybody's interpretation of this character is, one, there's three things you can't claim. One, he's not insane. At no point in this story can you logically say, do any diagnosis whatsoever, that the person's insane. Remember, what somebody thinks and what somebody does are insane. If they're in sync, that's called logic. Logic isn't always good. You can argue me this on it. I'll be more than happy to email you the papers on it. If somebody believes what they're doing, we don't need to get into that. By all means, hit me up on Instagram at PocanJoe. I'll make the debate for you. The Joker's not insane. He believes in what he does, and he has rationality, even in these stories. My favorite one was the very last story, which was an homage to the classic movie. And if you haven't seen it, shame on you. Run and go get it. Was One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, who, by the way, starred Jack Nicholson. If you don't remember, he was also the Joker in a movie, which kind of fit. Like, I don't know if I hope, in my hope of hearts, that the people that picked Joker from that 1989 movie watched One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. Because if you watch the two movies, it just makes sense. Especially if you watch One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest, you'll be like, yeah, that's the Joker. Like, and then you all of a sudden you see it happen in a movie. It's like watching Joker in reverse. I swear to God. Check it out. If I'm lying, hey, call me out. Put something in the comments. Watch the movies. Check it out. Call me a liar. Oh my God. It falls in line. So definitely, if you haven't picked this up yet, I don't care. Also, we get a great origin story. I don't know if it's an origin story, but we're going to go with an origin story at this point. Comic book people say words. I don't know if it's origin story, but we get this great thing from Punchline. By the way, happy Father's Day to all you fathers out there whose daughters are disappointed in you. There's a good chance for Punchline. Hey, Ashley, happy Father's Day. So there we go, guys. Boom. That's my review. Way too long, but so much happened in this. You can't avoid it. Let's rock this out until it's done, guys. Hit it.
What about you, Mike? What do you like this book? Do you have a favorite story in there?
Yeah, I chose this Greg Capullo cover. I got a couple more coming in the mail, but he's got the crowbar in the back.
Yeah.
You know. I think Joey said it. This is probably the best anniversary book of however many there were. You got Snyder and Jock in the first story. Pretty creepy scene at the end there with Joker hiding under the bed. The second one is you see this college girl and she's in trouble and she's in front of the dean who was disciplining her for wearing all Joker gear. And she's a fan of the Joker, and she dressed like that for Hero Day. And she's smoking. I don't know how she's smoking in her dorm room, but
do what you want.
The smoke turns out to be toxic. She got the recipe online, and this girl is revealed to be Punchline. So that's, I don't know if that's an origin story or not, but it's a little bit more information on where she's coming from. Third story's pretty funny, actually. Batman's dead. Yes, Joey. Oh, I thought you had something to say. Batman's dead. Lois Lane's doing an exclusive in the Batcave. Batman's identity is revealed to the world, and at the funeral, Joker's like, "What the fuck am I gonna do now?" He ends up working for the DMV, which is
he's a government employee. Cheers.
I actually didn't finish reading this. That's all I read. I am halfway done with it, so I can't wait to finish it. But co-pick of the week.
Yeah, there's not much more I can add on there, but definitely was one of the best or the best 80th anniversary ones we've had by far. Just a lot of cool interpretations of the Joker from different writers, some sadistic, some comical, so it was a good variety of Joker throughout the years and a good representation of the character, I think. Overall, it's a stash. I picked up, this is the Art Germ cover, and I got the Finch cover as well. We're sitting on the pile of money.
Which one's the Finch cover? I think I got that one too.
He's sitting on a pile of money.
Yeah.
Money. I think
the money shot. The money shot.
The money shot.
So real quick in the chat, if I can, real quick, because we don't want to forget you guys, because we appreciate and love all of you. Unfortunately, Discovery Bay had to roll out, but don't worry, brother. We know you're going to come back and catch us later. Comic Pool Dadpool came in, or Captain Dadpool came in. Hey, I haven't seen you in a while. It's great to see you in the chat. Thank you very much. If you haven't, definitely check that channel out. Glad you guys are killing it. Hey, yes, sir. Like, he's integrating with us. So I made a comment. Yes, Joey. This is from Double S. One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest. If you haven't watched this movie and you are a comic book fan, I'm going to tell you right now, it's a Joker origin story with Jack Nicholson. I swear to God, it is. Just watch the movie if you haven't seen it. Buy it.
Which Joker?
Legitimately, it's in a Walmart bin for $5. Go ahead, Mike. What do you got?
I said, which Joker is it the origin story of?
I'll tell you right now, if you take, and you know what, I can answer this. If you take the early movie that came out this year, right? You take that movie, right? That's one Joker. You take one that flew over the cuckoo's nest. That's a, that's the more comical Joker. So you have your comical Joker, you have your sadistical Joker, you need your more business savvy Joker. There's your three Jokers. I think that makes sense. But people write things. But Captain Deadpool has been very active in the chat tonight. Thank you for coming by. Double S also says Finch with a question mark, like the character from American Pie. Michael, laugh out loud. He's making a joke. You said, yep. Just want to recognize our chat room because we love the fact that you all pick up comic books. You read them. Definitely engage us. Ask us our opinions on.
Joe froze again. Joe's internet shit tonight.
Joe froze.
Joe froze. He'll drop out. Oh, there he is. He's back.
Yeah,
your internet's
I
tonight,
still for a second just to see that happen.
The last book we talk about, I think all three of us read it, is Batman 92. First, I guess, full appearance of Punchline. This book here itself, it has a lot going on because we don't know what Joker's planning and who his pawns are, and that's the whole thing. Or not necessarily the Joker. I'm sorry, the designer.
Yeah, the designer.
Yeah, so this is a big Riddler-heavy book because he's blocked off sections of Gotham. He's creating a crossword puzzle, and he's cut off Batman's communication, so he can't look on Google to look at the answers. So he has to come up with himself. He's proving how smart Batman is. He's able to solve the puzzle. Well, I already know this one, and this one. What's kind of funny, too, is Deathstroke is like, dude, this should be a game every week. I mean, why aren't we doing this on TV more often? Although that was kind of funny. It kind of had a John Wick kind of vibe to it with me a little bit, with the whole Catwoman trying to get to the broker, trying to get inside the house. I have an account, that kind of reminded me of John Wick. He goes to that one main building.
I can get that.
Yeah. But overall, I thought it was pretty good. The where Punchline's saying, you guys are all the jokes, I'm the punchline. Everybody's saying that this is Joker's girlfriend. We don't know if that's the case. He's saying it's a partner. So who knows what that means. But definitely we're going to be seeing some Harley Quinn and Punchline fights, I think, coming up. And overall, this Batman run's been great since Tom King's been off it, since Tinian's been on there. So it's a continued stash for me. One spoiler, though, we do know designer knows who Batman is because he's sitting in Bruce Wayne's house. So and hopefully we're going to reveal who the designer is too. Overall stash. What was that, Mike?
The designer is Alfred.
You think so?
Ooh, that would be very hard to explain, but that would be extremely hard to justify. But how interesting! That would be interesting. What do you all think in the chat? Is the designer Alfred? Although I will say we did get a backstory from the designer in previous issues. I'm not sure how that would work out. But, I mean, you can melt a story together. Fair enough.
I don't know.
But cheers to you. That would be, if we ruined that, like, people would be mad at us. We might get more views. That would be awesome.
So Double S said designer sounds like a name for a female villain. Could it be the Designing Women? Could it be that show from the 80s?
That's what you call a bad storyline.
Well, the Golden Girls. What did anybody else think of Batman 92? Mike, how about you?
Oh yeah, definite stash. I hope when Punchline and Harley fucking finally throw down Punchline, beats her ass and eats her intestines.
I don't know.
Wow. Harley just has gone downhill for me. Fair. I don't like crazy psychotic fucking Harley. Not, I want to play with cats and shit.
Yeah.
So have lesbian triangle sex with Catwoman and
Poison Ivy.
I want her insane and eating people's ears and shit. So, but we'll see what happens.
I don't think she ever did that, but all right, let's roll with that.
What about you, Joe? What'd you think of Batman 92?
Oh, pick of the week. Legit pick. I know I said that with Joker the 80th anniversary, but this name, I don't think that should classify as the same category. So I was able to get my hands on one of these 1 in 25s. I don't know what everybody else is doing, but if I'm going to go big, I'm going to go big. Come to find out, the actual origin story of her is in the 80th. But I like this character, and to be honest with you, I like it for all the wrong reasons. I like this character because once you got the origin story of her, if you picked up these 2 books, you have to read the 80th anniversary and then read this. Otherwise, you're going to think it's just another character that's being peacocked in there for no reason whatsoever. This particular villain has reason, motives, and directives. And that's what really drives a good villain. Arbitrary things like money or whatever else, they're fun, but this is an idealistic young lady that stands by her beliefs. And look, I'm going to clarify something real quick, just off script for just a quick second. This can come off very 2020 very quickly. I don't want it to do that, and I want to be very careful when I say these next words. I don't want it to be that way. I want this to be a comic book character that's not related to what's going on today because it was written before what we're going on to today. I like this character for what they are. I like this character in the battle that they went into where you had an old flame of the Joker, like, girl, you don't know what's going on. She snapped out some information.
What the fuck are you talking about?
Let me tell you what the Joker is. And Punchline is like, I don't think you understand. I'm not having sex with him. I'm his business partner, and I'm about a business. I like that they made that clarification very quickly in this story. If you want a long-lasting character, they can't be a love interest to the Joker. Joker's just going to kill him. Joker's just going to... Every time you need something shocking, that's the death or that's the drama. I don't think we read comic books for the drama of it. We like the action and the momentum of them. Is this going to be a long-lasting character? That's up to the writers at this point. I think they've established a good character, and I think they made an interesting character. And she shouldn't be a good person for a very long while. You got to establish the villainy in the character before you establish the good. So I hope they do that. But I really enjoyed this book. It's absolutely a stash for me. And the truth is, at this point, I don't know if it's because I've gotten so bad comic book Batman stories lately versus what's happened now. But I'm really enjoying all of it. It's a stash, and it's my pick of the week. Go on up. If you haven't got it, rush out. If you like story, rush out.
Okay, so let's jump into lightning round. My lightning round consists of 3 books. This first one, I believe it's a whole bunch of reprints from some Golden Age war stories. This is Air War stories. $10 for this book. Unless you're a big Golden Age war story fan, I would just totally pass on it. It's written by Sam Glanzman. He's actually a Golden Age writer. So kind of a couple cool stories in there, but not really my cup of tea. So I'd pass on that one. Join the Future #2. This was the first one I called Bernie Sanders versus Trump. It's a very new futuristic world where everything's taken care of for you. All your health care, all your food is provided, housing, all that stuff, versus a group of people that live on the outskirts that fend for themselves, do their own hunting, still work. So the people who fend for themselves get wiped out, including this main character's dad. So she decides she's going to take revenge, even though the rest of people are moving into the city and selling their land off. So it's a classic revenge story, Old West kind of versus future world.
So people that take care of themselves are. I'm sorry. Say that again. That's weird.
Well, they don't want the government to intervene. They take care of themselves. They provide their own everything else.
Lost.
Huh?
They lost.
They lost. Yeah.
If you all need out there know how to make a bullet, if you need to know how to make a bullet or hunt or anything like, hit me up on Instagram. I'll make sure that's not a reality.
Another one from Upshot this week. I don't know if nobody else saw this. An Old Haunts. This is issue number 1. This is a cross between Goodfellas or Casino, which is funny because we were just talking about that before the show.
Mm-hmm.
And a skeleton pterodactyl or a big bird thing. So these guys are old mobsters. One guy wants out. He sells part of the business. But there's a whole backstory of killing a whole bunch of people, and those ghosts are coming back to haunt them. And there's like a big skeleton peacock, whatever it is, that's now haunting him, and it's just whatever it is. It's a blast.
Oh, that's it. Blast? Like that actually sounded kind of cool.
No. As soon as I saw
I'll give you a couple of bucks for shipping. Send it. I like mobster stories.
As soon as I saw this page right here of this this bird coming out of the ground to go haunt him again, I thought, what the fuck is this, dude? Seriously. So, no, it's a blast for me.
That's fair.
Okay, Mike, how about you? What are your lightning round books? Do you have any?
I have 2, both Marvel. First one is Miles Morales, Spider-Man number 17, part of the Outlawed story that started before the Corona outbreak. In this one, basically, Miles has a run-in with Cradle, which is the government team after the underage superheroes. And that is it. I love Miles, but this is a blast. I hope these stories get better. I really like the Outlawed story, though, about underage heroes, so I'm going to keep picking up these tie-ins, I think. So that's a blast. Last one I got is the Black Cat number 11, which has a first appearance in it. In this one, the Black Cat has to steal some kind of key from Tony Stark. So they plan this whole heist, her and her little team. And while she's in Tony Stark's tower or whatever, this guy Firepower attacks Tony Stark. And at the end, we get the first appearance of the Black Cat armor. I shit you not. So, yeah, I'll show you. It's a blast. I mean,
does it have booby
J. Scott Campbell cover, if anybody cares about J. Scott Campbell. Let's see here.
Break it out. Let's take a look at this. What does Black Cat armor look like? That's so bad. This, God.
I mean, everyone
can get their hands on armor. You have no superheroes. Wow.
So, but yeah.
Really? That's what. It's so bad.
Oh, what about you, Joe, for lightning round?
I don't know. I read shit. Who cares? No, I'm joking. All right, so I'm actually very passionate about storytelling, and the last 2 books I have are both stashes for me. Let me be very clear on this, and I'm very surprised by DC lately. So if you don't know, Legend of Superheroes number 6 rolled out. We have an appearance of a new character, the new Gold Lantern. Now, you have to correct me in the box. I know there was a period of time where like everything was a color in this particular Lantern universe. I don't know if there's a gold one that has existed, but the summary said so. So I bought it just to find out what the character is. The character's really cool. Like, he's legit cool character. My problem with this comic book is why is Superboy there? At this point, we found out that, mind you, this entire planet of superheroes stretched into the past and grabbed the day that Superboy arbitrarily made a comment and made him the intergalactic person that decided how the universe needs to run. Which, okay, we're talking about comic books, even though this dangerous thought processes, whatever. We're talking about comic books. Let's roll with it. What happens? Well, as I've been following the story, I started to notice kind of a storyline in here. They brought him back to teach all of them how to be superheroes because they're young, right? So you go into the past, you're grabbing a young guy, maybe they can kind of help you out a little bit. What I'm finding out is everybody's better than Superboy in this story. So why is he there? Legitimately, the Gold Lantern is better. Think of it this way. Superman is a minor character in a Green Lantern story. Let that thought process explode into your head. That's what happened in this. They tried to do it in a way where it's not a big deal. It's not an important thing. But the truth is I'm still on if you read the series, why is he there? So I don't know. Kind of a blast this week, even with a new character. I don't look at comic books for value. I look at them for what they are, literally. It's a blast. Next one I got is Justice League Dark. Justice League. There was no Dark this week. Justice League. Justice League is an interesting story. And this is where things get dangerous. I try to stay in the realm of things that I know. There is some heavy tones of God, and they keep referring to it as the big G. So we know God as a religious figure, the big G form. And then we're also dealing with these lowercase G's. At this point, I don't know what they're trying to tell me. However, don't get hung up on that. Read the story for what it is. It's a specter story. There's a vengeance of God. It was supposed to be trapped in a person. That didn't happen right now because the person is expressing the one thing throughout all religions is a gift to their God, which is free will, and he's bound himself in Tartarus. What most people don't know, if you are not up to speed on your mythology, or rather it's Roman or Greek, when they say the word Tartarus, they're not talking about a place. They're actually talking about a person that's imprisoned there. And we kind of got a hint of that in there. I think the writer was a little big-brained more than most people are. Because you can say the word Hades, right? You can say Hades. Hades is just a portion, if you're into your Greek and Roman. It's just a portion. It's the entry gate. Tartarus is actually the hell. The fact is Tartarus is named after a person that created it through his thought and dream. What we found out in this is when you open up the doors to Tartarus, Tartarus is going to escape. So how is that going to relate to this, what most people would consider God, and this Tartarus concept? My hope is that they kind of, right, wrong, or indifferent, they at least play on it. Like, back it up and go forward with it. Because legitimately playing with religion versus fictional religion. So I'm kind of curious about that. I think it would be interesting. If that's not your thing, definitely don't pick it up. But if it's something you're like, how's it going to work? You need to go back 3 issues. So definitely do that. That's my haul.
That was the longest lightning round ever.
Yeah, I say what I want.
Wasn't TARDIS part of Doctor Who? Or
Yeah.
Yeah, TARDIS was as far as Doctor Who goes, I don't think it was a religious figure. Wasn't that the name of the booth? And I think it's Tartarus.
I don't care. I don't watch that British crap. I'm not a doctor.
Look, man, I'm just geeking out.
So,
words. I'm just kind of playing with the geek.
We're going to go ahead and wrap this night up. Hope you guys enjoyed the reviews that we did this week, and definitely come back next week, and we're going to be getting into more and more books. I'm going to be doing stuff on the podcast, hopefully do a grab bag with Rogue City Comics. That's going to be a fun thing to do. Try to do that once a month. Definitely be an audio portion of that. Anything else before we get out of here, guys?
Real quick, if you haven't seen my rundown for this week, I didn't blast or stash anything on it. Just gave a quick rundown on it. I'm also thinking about some other ideas, mostly on the comic book theme. I like working with things with my hands. If you have any comments or opinions, please let me know. And I may bring Mikey in for his expertise because he's local and he can actually show up. So if you have some concepts or ideas, definitely let us know. We'll maybe throw something on the Patreon. We'll work with Huey over here. No, I'm sorry. We'll work with Huey over here, and we'll figure it out. The truth is, we just want to keep comic books fluid and that people...
I'm going to go make some fluid right now.
Oh,
Web fluid. Okay. We're going to bounce out of here. Whether you blast it, whether you stash it, happy reading, and we'll see you guys next time. Where's that thing? Where's my thing?